All right, let's talk about the article. The article is called Georgia Deputy Bragged About Charging Black People with Felonies to Keep Them from Voting. The stress relief of assaulting black men. So, there's your content warning. That's what we're getting into. That's, not going to be great. So let's go ahead and take a break before we get into that. Go to the fan art section so we have a little bit of sanity before we start. So, first we have a villager Suris from Moonstar. And then we have Growlithe barking in the background because of course we do. We then have a Neko femboy Suris, looking very much like a doll, from YaraKoro. And then from Ikakus, we have a Nekosurus that they did as a warm-up. As always, thank you all for the fan art submissions, and let's get right into the article. I'm not looking forward to this. This is going to be great. And by great, I mean I'm going to hate every minute of this. Okay. A former Georgia deputy bragged in messages with members of an extremist group that he had brutalized a black man in custody and that he intended to charge black people with felonies to keep them from voting. Okay. That's where we're at. Text messages sent by 28-year-old Cody Richard Griggers in 2019, when he was still working as a Wisconsin County deputy, showed that he told members of the Shadow Moses group, oh no, you're gonna make the Kojima side of me mad. Y'all, so, the Shadow Moses thing, that's from Metal Gear Solid. Let me see if I can find an image of Shadow Moses Isle. Wham! Images of Shadow Moses Isle. There. I needed to look at something that made me happy. Like this. As opposed to your racist fuck buddy group that you called Shadow Moses here. The dude said in this group, I'm going to charge them with whatever felonies I can to take away their ability to vote. This was according to an FBI affidavit. If anyone tries to tell you that police in the United States never do anything because of racism, that's never a motivating factor for what they do, we can pull a shit ton of examples of this happening. This doesn't mean that all cops are racist, mind you, but this does mean that it does happen. Remember, this was a group of people, not a single person. Single person bragged. A group of people were okay with it. Grigger was fired from the department in November after the FBI contacted the sheriff about an investigation regarding illegal guns and a man who had made violent political statements on social media. The former Marine pled guilty in a federal court on April 26 to one count of possession of an unregistered firearm and faces up to 10 years in prison. He was detained at his pre-trial hearing and remains in custody. They went on to say that the former law enforcement officer knew that he was breaking the law when he chose to possess a cache of unregistered weapons, silencers, and a machine gun, keeping many of them in his duty vehicle. How can you be so stupid as to put all of your unregistered weaponry in the police vehicle? The one that police would be likely to search at some point? Coupled with his violent, racially motivated extreme statements, the defendant has lost his privilege permanently of wearing the blue, said U.S. Attorney Peter D. Leary. According to court documents, Grigger's name first surfaced on investigators' radar in August when agents searched the phone of San Diego, California man Gray Zamudio and discovered the Shadow Moses group text. In the messages, Grigger said that he was stockpiling illegal guns and explosives. Excuse me, what? What? again, why would you say this in a group text? This is stuff like, okay, look, I'm just throwing this out there, okay? If you are wanting to exchange messages of this nature with people, maybe it'd be a good idea to use something like an IRC with encryption, not a fucking group text. Holy shit. He says, I want to get law enforcement only stuff like flashbangs and entry charges and say I used them in training when I pocketed them. When investigators searched his home on November 9th, they found that he had a machine gun with a destroyed serial number in his patrol car, weapons he shouldn't have had in the vehicle. Okay, proofread, please. Proofread your shit. Between the home and the patrol car, authorities found 11 illegal firearms. Grigger's comments in the group text were particularly concerning to Wilkinson County Sheriff Richard Chapman. In August of 2019, he texted that he had beaten a black man in custody. He said, "Oh, I got wrapped up in my AR and forgot to tell y'all that I beat the shit out of an N-word Saturday. Fucker tried to steal a gun magazine from a local store. Sheriff's department said it looked like he fell." The affidavit noted it was quoting him. He described the beating as sweet stress relief. Chapman, speaking with the Macon Telegraph newspaper, said this week that he had alleged that the alleged crime committed by the black man couldn't have happened because there isn't a gun shop in that area. Oh, man, that's awkward. Imagine your only justification for beating a minority goes out the window when the thing that they must have stole the magazine from literally doesn't exist in the area. Man, that's awkward, isn't it? That's fucking dumb. Said, in fact, Chapman, who is black, says he believes the whole story about the beating was made up and attributed to Grigger being braggadocious. Imagine existing in a group of friends who were legitimately okay with the fact that you were just beating a minority and you called it stress relief. Dude, he doesn't mean that. He's just being a braggart. He just does that all the time. What kind of friends do you hang around with for that kind of bragging is normal and also accepted? It said, I think he may have been working in a jail at the time. We looked at all the cases he may have been involved in, and we never had any complaints on him of any kind, Chapman said. We looked back and we pulled records of anything that he had taken a warrant for and any call he'd gone on, and we found nothing that raised any red flags. Really? Things I don't believe, but I'm going to accept because I have no evidence otherwise. According to Chapman, Griggers told him upon being fired that he was sorry all this happened, that it wasn't really him. He's scheduled to be sentenced on July 6th. Wait, but beating black people for stress relief isn't really you? But, like, you did it? Like, okay, which one is worse? I gotta ask. Which one is worse? Legitimately hurting an individual and bragging about it, right? Which hurts a person and is bad. Or the implications that someone would lie about beating a black person because apparently that's the kind of thing that impresses your friend group that you named Shadow Moses in desperate hopes that a solid snake wouldn't come in and rip you asunder. Which is worse? The fact that that's a thing that he thought it was okay to lie about to impress a bunch of other dude bros? Or the legitimately beating a single person and then bragging about it? I'm kind of torn, because, like, on the one hand, a real person gets hurt, but on the other hand, like, the implications are way worse. Both are horrible, though. Like, and I'm not trying to say that, like, oh, you shouldn't be allowed to think what you think. No. If the things you think are beating a minority is stress relief for me, I just don't have the words. I don't have the ability to articulate, like, how bad that is. Even if Moses had actually existed, he'd have been brown. Yeah, different Moses. Different Moses. Canna Zombie says that either helps generate the culture of beating up black people is okay. Beating up black people is okay. Yeah. Yeah, in either case, in one, it's an admission where, like, hey, guys, I did this and it was kind of stress relieving. The other one is like, hey, guys, I did this and it relieved my stress. Like, they're both fucking bad. But, yeah, both of them do have the, they do generate that culture. So the fact that he wasn't fired for that thing that others had to know, the fact that people would keep that information, it's like, nah, dude, he's a real good guy. We're going to keep that information away from the other police officers. The fact that the FBI had to find that. I feel like the lying person might be quicker to change for the better, but that depends on if they think it's okay normal or if they've been lying out of panic and desperation. Yeah. Kira Sakura says policing tends to have that culture, though. Ugh. You're not wrong. I mean, it does depend on which area you're in, but in a lot of areas, especially here in the South, I hear that that is kind of the culture that's there. And, like, people who are actually, like, decent people, but also are police officers have to, like, actively resist that toxic culture around them. Said, what did he want the guns for in the first place? I know it doesn't really matter, but I'm curious. See, I have to wonder, if you've got a group called Shadow Moses, which were ostensibly like a terrorist group in Metal Gear Solid, that were stockpiling weapons and creating nuclear devices. I mean, that's how they were creating a Metal Gear. They had, like, hijacked a scientist and got him to do their shit. Otacon? My memory could be bad. It's been a while since I played Metal Gear Solid. Swirls, thank you very much for the follow. But yeah, that if you're in a group like that and you're stockpiling weapons illegally, it's for one of two reasons. Well, three reasons, really. Either you're collecting them and you really, really like them a lot, in which case I have to wonder why the ripping off of the serial numbers. Secondly, you want to jerk off to them. I mean, I got Nerf guns here. I understand. Believe me, I get it. Or there's something you're going to do with those weapons with other people. And maybe I'm missing an option here, but in all these cases, it's bad. And the fact that something like this was okay and harbored for so long, like, dude, 2 fucking years before it, like, came out and became a problem, and only because the FBI got involved? It is no surprise to me that the FBI said that, like, white supremacy flavored terrorism is the most prevalent form we see in the United States these days. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, man, I hate to plug, like, Patreon and stuff like that on videos like this, but, yeah, I guess if you want to support the channel, that's a thing you can do. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow on Twitch. I need to wash the taste of this article out of my mouth. Ugh. Insert end the video tagline here.